guys are my favorite.
Easy money's hard to earn. Sell your soul for a lesson learned. This side of hell don't nothing burn like easy money. Easy money's gonna lie to you, yeah. That's what lying liars do. Can nobody twist the truth like easy money? Call your mama to say you're sorry. You took a wrong turn on highway robbery. Drop the phone when she starts asking loaded questions like, how's your day been? Ooh. Easy money's a beautiful bitch. Feels so good to scratch that itch. You'll go broke trying to get your fix with easy money. Call your mama to say you're sorry. You took a wrong turn on highway robbery. Drop the phone when she starts asking loaded questions like, how's your day been? Ooh. Easy money, there's no such thing, just a finger stained from a fool's gold ring. Nothing scars, yeah, nothing stings like easy money.
Fine, let's tune it. I came all this way. I drove to Houston. Might as well be in tune. Guys, it is so nice to be here. Thank you. I like you. You can stay. In fact, you can all stay, but her extra. How are you guys doing? I mean, I know it's a little early. I don't mean about the show. I just mean like in life. How are we today? Are we enjoying a beautiful spring? A hot and humid spring? I mean, there are some good things about it being warm. You get to see a lot of tattoos. You know, when it warms up, the tattoos come out to play. You get to see what bad decisions people made a few decades ago. You learn a lot about people when the tattoos come out. So that's one benefit. All right, let's try that again. 3, 4.
time to pay the bills again. Makes a woman feel like running. I keep a backpack by the door. You keep asking what that's for. Can't find the nice way to say you don't know who I am. I am. I am. You don't know who maybe I'll roll out at dawn. Headlights off, radio on. The open road will take me back. You'll move on, you always have. We've all got our own hands to play. You don't know who my father's fight, my mother's appetite. I travel pretty light these days. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know who. Thank y'all so much. Okay, I'm going to do the most hippie-ass thing that's going to happen all night, and I'm just going to get it out of the way right now. Let's just all snuggle down in your seats, feel the ground underneath you, and just take one deep breath all together. Just think about how cool it is that everything that has happened in the past insane 3 years and in the many decades before that, all of the good decisions we made, all the bad decisions, all the tattoos we've gotten, all of that has led to this group of people being in this room right now. And that's never going to happen again, this exact group of people. I mean, we could, have a great time and say we'll try again and have like a reunion of this show at some point, but it probably won't happen because someone's going to get a flat tire, their kid's going to need them or whatever. So anyhow, this is special. I'm excited to be here. And thank you guys all very much for coming out. If I've done you wrong, then just say so. If you want me gone, then so it shall be. If I stayed too long, darling, let me know. Just say so. Say so to me. I've slept all night for the first time in years, closer to you than I knew I could be. And I've stayed up nights fighting back my fears that your smile don't light up anymore for me. If I've done you wrong, then just say so. If you want me gone, then so it shall be. If I stayed too long, darling, let me know. Just say so to me. I've slept all night for the first time in years. A knock on the door, an odor call. Desperate to hear you still care for me. You can't bear to be terribly far after all. If I'd done you wrong, then just say so. If you have moved on, I will leave you in peace. But if I'm still your woman, darling, let me know. Just say so to me. Please say so to me.
Thanks so much. Thanks. You never really know where a song idea is going to come from. At least I don't. I think some people perhaps set out with more intention than I do, but I kind of wait for a song idea to hit me upside the head. And then I think, oh, I've been struck by inspiration. The muse is visiting upon me, and I shall sit and engage with my muse. And then I write the song. And I always do it in that weird accent. It's really a crazy process. But one time I got an email from a dude in the music business asking if I would consider writing a song for a TV show. And I didn't actually, I got the email and I thought, writing a song on spec for a TV show, like a USA Today show about, I don't know what it was about, politics or gymnasts or something. I was like, that doesn't really sound like my thing. And then I read a little further down the email, and they wanted 2 songs for a character in the show to start singing because she was going to begin on her character's journey, writing and performing original music, and they needed songs for that. And they said, if we pick your songs, we'll pay you $7,000 each. And I thought, well, it can't hurt to try. So I read on, and they gave me a good description of a character and, her story up to that point and what was going to inspire her to write. And, she was tough on the outside, covered in tattoos. Inside, she had a heart of gold. It was really, untrodden territory narratively. And as I was reading her story, though, it was funny because they wanted 2 songs for her. They wanted like an upbeat folk pop song, and they wanted an acoustic folk ballad. And that's where I started. And I pulled out my guitar and I started playing these chords. This is a segue, by the way, in case you're, that's an industry term. So I started playing these chords, and this song, which isn't really about the girl on the TV show, it's really about, my dumbass and some feelings I was ignoring for 15 years or so, kind of spilled out. It's called Tattoo. You are really on my mind, not really all the time, not really all I find in strangers' faces. I got my own life too, with so very much to do. No time to write songs for you, we're on our places. Ooh, what do I do with this tattoo? All I have left of you, you definitely aren't there, making jokes in your underwear, making fun of my morning hair. I can't remember how you would hold me tight, leave on a crack of light, so I'd see that I was alright, a dying ember. Ooh, what do I do with this tattoo? All I have left of you. You truthfully aren't my type, not with your smile just right, not with your honest eyes and good graces. Honey, it's plain to see the bridge between you and me was a beautiful fantasy. We couldn't make it. Ooh, what do I do with this tattoo? All I have left of you. Thanks. And before you ask, no, they did not pick my songs for the TV show. But I got something more valuable than $14,000, I guess. No, I got 2 songs out of it that I actually really connected with. And I also learned, all right, bear with me, because this is the second most hippie-ass thing I'm going to say tonight. I learned a valuable lesson about the power of self-limiting beliefs. I know, I sound like Oprah, but I mean it. I realized that I had told myself that I only wrote when I was inspired, when an idea came to me, when I was visited upon by the muse. But actually, I realized that with a little motivation, and I could find inspiration, and that I was telling myself something was a fact when actually it was just a belief that I was putting on myself. And snark aside, thank you, she gets it, but for the rest of you, it made me realize that I was probably doing that in other areas of my life. And it sort of set me on this path of exploring, like what else I was telling myself was fact when actually it was just some shit that I made up. So that became sort of like a really central founding idea behind the whole next record I released, which is called Give Up Your Ghosts. And this is the title track of that album. Have you ever tried to fall asleep, twisted in a stranger's sheets, unsure where you should put your feet, unsure if you belong?
Have you ever watched a peaceful chest rise and fall as you got dressed? Unsure if you could catch your breath, unsure if you're that strong. Relax, let it go, roll with the flow. You're gonna get over it, be fine in the end. Give up all your ghosts, at least the ones you love the most. They're never holding you as close as you are holding them. Have you ever felt the sinking hook in the soft flesh of a hand you shook? The glancing of a single look you die to see again. Have you ever tried to cross that bridge far away from where you live, unsure where the bottom is or why you need to know? Relax, let it go, roll with the flow. You're gonna get over it, be fine in the end. Give up all your ghosts, at least the ones you love the most. They're never holding you as close as you are holding them. Don't forget we're all worthy of a little faith and a lot of mercy. Have you ever woken from a dream rattled as a tambourine, unsure if you should laugh or scream or simply play along? Relax, let it go, roll with the flow. You're gonna get over it, be fine in the end. Give up all your ghosts, at least the ones you love the most. They're never holding you as close as you are holding them.
Thanks. Just did some quick math. It has been 17, almost 18 years since I quit my full-time job as an audio engineer and decided to go out on the road and make my living as a full-time musician. And it has been about 12 years since I started actually making my living as a full-time musician. And in between, there were a lot of, hard nights, awkward conversations, dozens of weird part-time jobs, lots of Craigslist jobs. I sold beer at a football game once, the Atlanta Falcons. That's where I was living. And I answered a Craigslist ad, and I was like, yeah, cool. I could stand in a kiosk and sell beer. Oh, no. Oh, no, I was not in a kiosk. I was a walking kiosk. They gave me a cooler, a bunch of ice, and a strap. So I put the strap around my neck, and I just walked up and down all of those stadiums. It was like going to the gym, but so much worse, because you were selling beer to day drinkers and hoping that they were severe alcoholics, because the more beer you sold, the more you got paid. It was awkward and tough, and I only did it one day, but always tip those people, guys, and never ask them to go get more ice and make the beer colder. People would be like, you should get more ice. These beers are warm. I'd be like, you get more ice. I did all sorts of weird jobs, though. I was a bank teller. I taught guitar lessons to kids. I was a chauffeur for a little while for teenage triplets whose parents physically could not drive them to all of their different activities. So they hired me to try. So that was fun. That was another Craigslist job. I did all sorts of stuff and always just saving up money so I could get back out on the road and go back on tour. Always with the goal of getting back out there, just playing more shows, hiring a radio promoter, doing whatever I had to do in order to get out on the road and play gigs. Until finally, in 2010, I released a record called Mystery Prize, and I hired the radio promoter. I actually put all my stuff in storage and moved into my station wagon so that I could afford to hire the radio promoter. And figured, I'm going to try and get this album on this Americana Top 40 chart just for like a week so I can say it happened, so that I can book more gigs, get more festivals, whatever. And at the end of the year, 12 months went by, and I realized not only did the record get on the Americana Top 40 chart, but it stayed there for 10 weeks, which was very exciting. But I also realized that after a year, at the end of 2010, I had not had another part-time job. And I hadn't had to crawl back home with my tail between my legs one single time. And as far as I can tell, I haven't ever since. But this is a song about something all musicians know a little bit about, which is crawling back home with your tail between your legs.
I've been waiting for hours now on my homebound train. Got a cold cup of coffee and a lot to explain. Lake Louise, Lake Louise. I was hungry and reckless. I was young and naive. I was seeking attention. You asked nothing of me. Lake Louise, Lake Louise. Can I walk on your water? Can I sleep on your shore? Am I safe in your harbor anymore? Old man by the window, wearing moth-eaten tweed, sheds a tear in the shadows. I think I know what he needs. Lake Louise, Lake Louise. Can I walk on your water? Can I sleep on your shore? Am I safe in your harbor
Thank you. Well, here's hoping you guys like this one more than the person that I wrote it for did. Must be hard to be the smartest guy you'll ever know. Can't be fun to be too dumb to just let that go. You give when you ought to take. You push when you ought to pull away. Pass on your every turn. Laugh it off until you're burned. Down, down, down to the wire. Down, down, down to the blue of the fire. Down, down, down to the wire, baby, down. The phones are ringing, but the birds are weighing down the lines. Your eyes are blinking, but your mind has flown a million miles. You hide when you ought to see. You cry when you ought to show your teeth. Say what you want to hear. Fall like a warning on deaf ears. Down, down, down to the wire. Down, down, down to the blue of the fire. Down, down, down to the wire, baby, down. And of course it's been fun, but this course has been run. You can stand your ground, but it's holding you down. Down, down, down to the wire. Down, down, down to the blue of the fire. Down, down, down to the wire, baby, down, down, down to the wire. Down, down, down to the blue of the fire. Down, down, down to the wire, baby, down. Down. Thanks. So y'all might not know this, but you're at the kickoff show of the Back 40 tour, which I'm very excited about. I am having a, shall we say, milestone birthday in August, and I work in the music industry, if you hadn't noticed, which is a little bit youth obsessed, and I have been receiving weird messages about that since I was 13 years old. When I was about 13, I played a song of mine for a guy in the music industry. This wasn't so much ageist as it was just insane. He looked at me and he said, "Man, it's really too bad I didn't meet you a couple of years ago. It's just that women's rock thing's really pretty much over now." And I looked at him and thought, that's a really messed up thing to say to someone whose brain is still forming. Like, I'm 13, right? So, and since then, it's just been like a weird minefield of navigating messages from people, from the culture. I think everyone has to deal with this, regardless of age, regardless of gender. I promise, I'm not going back into Oprah territory. We're staying right here. But what I'm trying to say about the music industry and about my life is that, I have done my best in all parts of my life to take what works and filter out the rest. But it's not easy. It's like a muscle that you have to kind of train up. And when I started working on this song with my friend Megan Burt, I realized, we all start training those muscles when we're really young. Like, does anyone remember the middle school cafeteria? I feel like that's training ground for this stuff. So that's kind of what inspired this next song. And really what inspired the Back 40 tour is just that I don't like being told what to do. So, if you tell me that I should lie about my age, I'm going to name a tour after it, because that's who I am. Anyhow, welcome to the Back 40 tour, you guys. A song called Growing Up. Babe, I really hate to be the one to break the news. You're gonna wanna play, but we don't get to make the rules. Gotta learn how to roll, take it punch by punch. Get down and back up 100 times before lunch.
Growing up, growing old, getting over it. Feeling small, feeling big, getting used to it. Breathing in, breathing out, feel the weight of the world at your feet. Growing up, growing old, getting over it. I'm growing up, growing old, getting over it. Nothing really changes, but time rearranges your view. Your parents will get smaller, your monsters grow taller than you. So you learn how to smile, find your own way home. Keep your keys in your fist when you walk alone. Growing up, growing old, getting over it. Feeling small, feeling big, getting used to it. Breathing in, breathing out, feel the weight of the world at your feet. Growing up, growing old, getting over it. I'm growing up, growing old, getting over it. If you don't know, then you don't know what you don't know about. See, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know nothing about me. Growing up, I'm growing up. Growing up, growing old, getting over it. Feeling small, feeling big, getting used to it. Breathing in, breathing out, feel the weight of the world at your feet. Growing up, growing old, getting over it. I'm growing up, growing old, getting over it. We're growing up, growing old, getting over it.
Thanks. There are all these placards on the table, at least there were earlier, advising that we all get Irish coffees, which I think would make the night interesting if we took them up on it. Yeah. During sound check, they all said Irish coffees. It was more for the day crowd, I suppose. And I actually got an Irish coffee recently, which I don't normally do, but you have to be in a real particular mood for it. And I was there, and it came from someone who had clearly never made one before. I was in the wrong establishment. It came in a coupe glass, and he made it with scotch. It was terrible. So if you're going to get one, get it here. Don't get it there. That's just a PSA. Just interview your bartender first. Like, you do know what I'm talking about, right? How many tattoos do I have? I have one, and you'll never see it. I'm not even sure my parents know about it yet, although this is on YouTube, so maybe they're finding out tonight. Hi, Mom! It's just between us and the entire internet. I'm going to throw this song out to anyone who's working really hard these days and sending all their money halfway across the world to the people that they love most, who they don't know when they're going to get to see again. I think that's a real courageous thing to do and a really noble act of love. So this is a song for that love. When I leave, I'll leave the sun hanging straight up in the sky. Leave the apples in their baskets, let them rot and turn to wine.
the cold averted glances, the fear in my bones. When I leave the long arm and the trips behind the shed, bundles in my mattress, shaking their heads, and I will fare thee well to no one, no. I'll disappear. And Margarita, you're the reason I've been a bad dawn. Margarita, you're the reason I've been holding on. Margarita, you're the queen of every beggar's son. Margarita. When I leave, I'll leave completely with a suitcase full of cash. I'll uncross every border and I will untake every breath till we're standing in our chapel and we're making promises. Oh, the girls will get new dresses and the boys get baseball caps. I'll answer every question, we'll dance till every last drop of celebration has been wrung out of our shoes. We'll make love till the morning, make love till we can't move. Margarita, you're the reason I've been a bad dawn. Margarita, you're the reason I've been holding on. Margarita, you're the queen of every beggar's son. Margarita, Margarita. Well, it was early in November, on a cloudless sunny day. The sky grew thick with thunder and the birds all flew away. They shackled us like killers. We walked in single file. And Margarita, they've been talking, but I ain't heard a word. No, I've been dreaming you could see me in my cell of steel and dirt, hidden from that sun, hanging straight up in the sky, ripped and plucked like an apple left to rot, turn to wine. Margarita, you're the reason I've been a bad dawn. Margarita, you're the reason I've been holding on. Margarita, you're the queen of every beggar's son. Margarita, Margarita. Oh, Margarita,
Thanks. It has been far too long since we have gotten to do this. I think this is my first solo show back like this since the before times. And so there's a lot to catch up on, obviously. We all had sort of a weird interlude there. And it was a strange time. I mean, I'm just going to talk about it. Like the COVID, the pandemic, the lockdown. It was hard, I think, universally, and strange. And also something that I found really weird about it was that it was a very sort of singular experience. Like we were all going through it, but there wasn't much guidance. No one had ever done it before. There's not like a book or a website that like tells you how to survive something like that. And we all were having to make all of these really difficult, kind of crucial decisions day after day after day in really uncertain times, which is hard. Sort of like a weird, messed up, choose your own dystopia kind of adventure. It was strange. I stayed very heavily locked down for about 2 years. That was the path I took. I live in the country now, and it's kind of easy to do, just not see anyone out there, just close the gate and stay home. And, you know, I think that during conditions like that, some people were extremely creative. You know, I know people who learned new instruments, took up painting, wrote the next great American novel, and I'm very happy for them. That's great. Other people, you know, baked some stuff or, you know, watched all 17 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, that's a thing that some people chose to do. I found that I didn't have a very creative response to that panicky time, partly because I felt like I was so focused on surviving, on getting through the day, that I couldn't really like access the place where my emotions live. And I couldn't get to where the song, like the well of emotions from which I draw to write songs, was not available to me in that time. But there was one night where that well opened up and I did write one song. This is, by the way, another segue. That's what's happening. You know, I like to make it obvious for people. So there's this astronaut named Michael Collins. Y'all familiar with him? He was the third guy on the Apollo mission that went to the moon. He was not Neil Armstrong. He was not Buzz Aldrin. The whole time I said that, I was thinking, don't say Buzz Lightyear, don't say Buzz Lightyear, don't say Buzz Lightyear. And I didn't until now. I just said it 3 times. No, he was not Buzz Aldrin. So he did not like take the giant steps on the moon. He did not plant the flag down, but he stayed on that spaceship and kept it orbiting the moon. And during that time, and I found this to be so profound when I was locked in my house not seeing any of my friends, when his spaceship went on the other side, the dark side of the moon, someone should write a song about that. When he got to the dark side of the moon, he was completely cut off from Earth. The radio went silent. The spaceship went completely dark. He could see nothing and no one. He was connected to no living souls. And he just had to have faith that he'd come back around. And he'd come back around, and the lights would come back on, and the radio would come back on. He'd hear NASA down in Houston, and he'd see his buddies walking around on the moon. And he did that for hours, days, I'm not sure how long, a very long time. And he said in his memoirs after he got home, and he wrote very eloquently on the topic, he said that he believes that if all world leaders could see Earth from 10,000 miles away, that they would realize that the things that we fight over are completely made up by man, and that there would be no more war. Yes. So, reading between the lines, what I think he's saying is that we should take all the world leaders, put them all in a rocket ship, and just send them to the moon. Reading about him on the night that he passed made me think about how connected we all are, often in ways we don't even realize, and how every person has a whole universe inside of them. And I was thinking, like, what would it be like if for one weird day we all had the omniscient power to know what everyone we ran into was actually going through? What would happen? How would we treat each other? And that's where this song started. Two stupid people got drunk, made a baby, fought her way out. Now she's this lady dressed to the nines, swearing in traffic she's not even late. Walks in with 2 coffees, gives one to Denise, who's working the night shift, dead on her feet. Breathes in the steam, gets lost in the swirl of the cream. Love echoes, love echoes, love echoes. She gets off at 11, picks up her daughter
from the new neighbor who offered to watch her. Thank God that she did, 'cause daycare's expensive and rent is due. To Andrew, her landlord, who lives with her mother, who hasn't remembered his name since last summer. She smiles when she sees him and doesn't know why. He hums for her lease and she starts to cry. Love echoes, love echoes, love echoes. She was always a sucker for classic composers, since back in the war when her sweetheart was over there fighting against boys his own age who were following orders too. He wrote her a letter each week, maybe more, till his family awoke to a knock on the door. Parishioners gathered in North Carolina, alone in the back. She hummed in A minor, love echoes, love echoes, love echoes. So ask any kid with a brain and an anthill. She'll tell you that people divide up their land until everyone's king of their own little mountain and nobody needs to come down. So we all live behind these invisible lines of made-up inventions like money and time, and fighting for borders in unholy wars, humming as loud as we can to ignore love echoes, love echoes, love echoes. Y'all want to sing with me? It's just 2 words. Love echoes. Did a lot of bad things when I was young. Probably the worst of them I were done to you. I held you in my hands and I didn't understand what I had to lose. You must think I am so small if you think of me at all. I came in like a ball of fire and trouble. We burned straight to the ground, and I didn't stick around to see if you were found among the rubble. Did a lot of bad things when I was young. Probably the worst of them I've done were done to you. I held you in my hands and I didn't understand what I had to lose. I knew right from the start we were gonna fall apart, but I made my move. I made my move. piles and shifts. With time it melts and drifts and carries off the bits of what we could be. I shovel out my car, and I hope that wherever you are, you see where all the stars of our own movies did a lot of bad things when I was younger. Probably the worst of them I done were done to you. I held you in my hands and I didn't understand what I had to lose. I knew right from the start we were gonna fall apart. I looked you in the eye and I didn't even try. I held you in my hands, didn't understand what I had to lose. I had to lose. I had to lose. Did a lot of bad things. Did a lot of bad things.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Y'all are fun. Let's see. Do you guys like to talk to people on planes? All right. I heard mostly no. A few psychopaths said yes. Good for you. No, I'm just kidding. Every now and then I'll do it. But most of the time I like to sleep because that's my superpower is I can close the window. I sit next to the window. I pull my hoodie down over my eyes, which is like international plane speak for do not talk to me. And then I fall asleep. But one day I was on a plane. I was flying from Miami to Atlanta. And there was this kid sitting next to me. And just as I was pulling my hoodie down, he goes, could you please open the window? And I opened my hoodie. And I was like, who's talking to me? I was like a troll under a bridge. Who goes there? And he was like, I've never been on a plane before. And my heart just melted. And that's why he didn't know international plane speak, So I was like, oh, yeah, of course. And then I just start chatting with him because I think, try and help ease his nerves a little, distract him during takeoff, whatnot. So I'm asking him some questions. How old is he? He's 18. Where's he from? Well, he's from Miami. Where's he going? He's going to Chicago. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a long way. What are you going to Chicago for? And he says, I'm flying to Chicago to get married. I know. That was my reaction, too. So now I'm wide awake, and I look at him, and I say, wow, congratulations. Please tell me everything about yourself. So we talked the entire flight, and he turned out to be a really nice young guy. He had had a pretty rough upbringing. He had 6 bad older brothers who were all a terrible influence, and their parents left when he was young. They bounced in and out with various family and foster care until he got to 9th grade, and he was just sort of teetering. He was hanging out with a dangerous crowd. He was skipping school more than he was going to school. And he said he could feel his life kind of falling apart, but he just didn't know how to get it back. And then one day in 9th grade, he met this girl. And his whole face just lit up when he talked about her. She was smart and funny and beautiful and kind. And they just clicked immediately and had felt deeply in love and had been a couple ever since. She had graduated and moved on to go to college in Chicago. And she promised him that when he graduated, he could fly up to Chicago and they would get married. So he had finished all of the rest of his exams that week. And he was on the first flight he could catch after finishing his exams to fly up and get married. They were going to go, she was picking him up at the airport, and they were going to go straight to City Hall. And I know what you dirty minds are thinking. They hadn't seen each other in 10 months. So they weren't even pregnant. I know. It's unbelievable to me. But they were going straight to City Hall. He was going to spend the weekend in Chicago with his new bride. And then he was catching a flight back to Miami on Tuesday because he had an afternoon shift at Chi-Chi's that he couldn't get covered, and he needed that job because he needed to save up money to eventually move to Chicago. So by the end of the flight, I went from, Troll Bridge with the hoodie over my eyes to like wanting to like jump into his suitcase and just be a part of his life forever. I attach quickly. So I was just completely in love with this guy. And, I was like, oh, goodbye. It was really nice to meet you. Here's a sticker. Here's a card. Here's a postcard. Here's my phone number. Do you have a phone? Do you want my phone? Here, I'll give you my phone. I mean, yeah, a little much. And I mean, he was like, yeah, cool. Nice to meet you, crazy plane lady. Do all airplanes come with this lady? Because she's nuts. Anyhow, I really liked him, and I couldn't get him out of my mind. And I ended up carrying him with me for years and wrote this song just so I could tell you guys that story. This is called The Chicago Kid. Well, I was born in South Florida and left there to die. I spent 18 long years in the weeds. I found it hard to believe in, even changing the seasons. The leaves only turned on TV. And now I'll fly if I have to, though I would swim twice as long to be the one she'll press her back to. I am Chicago, going, gone. I showed her the stoplight my daddy must have fixed right before he left, a whisper in the wind. She kissed me like a church bell, Lord, and she loved me like an anvil, and I haven't had her out of my mind since. And so my grandma told me that I've got his body, and I don't think she meant it unkind. But I'll keep punching these time cards and studying the fine art of working my way up in that girl's mind. And now I'll fly if I have to, though I would swim twice as long to be the one she'll press her back to. I am Chicago, going, gone. And one, if by land, they say, two, if by sea, three little words made a bird out of me. Well, I was born in South Florida and left this July. 18 years served me just fine. So tell the boss I'm off to marry a sweet daughter of the prairie, and a kiss it where the sun will never shine. And now I'll fly 'cause I have to, though I would swim twice as long to be the one she'll press her back to. I am Chicago, going, gone. Hey, I was born in South Florida, let me die in her arms. I'm Chicago, going, gone. Thank you. Sadly, no. Never heard from him again. But it was his wedding day, so I guess he had bigger things on his mind. So much for goodbyes. I mumble as you try to paint the door shut on your way. I wonder where time flies. Do birds take the months by the wing and show them
how to disappear? And if so, why'd they leave me here? If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. Lie awake and cry. Lie awake and cry. I've tried more, I've cared less, I've prayed for forgiveness, I've been a cold voice on the phone, but that don't make me less alone. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. Lie awake and cry. Lie awake and cry. All I have to do is all I have to do. All I have to do is lie. All I have to do is all I have to do. All I have to do is lie. All I have to do is all I have to do. All I have to do is lie. All I have to do is all I have to do. All I have to do is lie. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. If all I have to do is promise not to love you, all I have to do is lie. Lie awake and cry. Lie awake and cry.
Thank y'all so much. So I have been informed that there is a mandatory encore situation here at the Mucky Duck tonight. I don't make the rules. I don't even always follow the rules, but this one sounds cool. I'm going to follow it. So I'm going to play one more song for you. And then we'll see what happens. I do want to thank all of the staff here, everyone at the Mucky Duck, for making this run so smoothly, making this so much fun. Henry on sound has been a dream. Shane, the manager. Nick, the wonderful server, all of the wonderful servers. Please show them your appreciation tonight because these people work very, very hard. From Atlanta. That's where I grew up. And it's, yes! I knew I liked you, whoever you are. So the thing about Atlanta is that we get like a quarter of an inch of, you wouldn't even call it snow, just like icy coldness. And the whole city shuts down. I mean, I'd imagine Houston isn't much better prepared for, cold weather. I think that in Georgia, we have one snowplow for the entire state. So I was very amused when I was in London on tour. I was in the UK on tour in 2017, and they had some snow, and it was like, blizzard, don't leave your house. And it was like an inch of snow on the ground in London. And I was like, oh, there's a whole country like this. That's so exciting. So I ended up with an extra 3 or 4 days just like camped out in a friend's front drawing room, learning how to tend a fire, like a coal-burning fire from like a 250-year-old house. And there was this amazing 86-year-old woman named Felicity who owned the house, and she would come in and help me get the fire going and like ball up some paper and poke the logs and put in more coal in the bottom and be like, you got it this time, right? And I'd be like, oh yes, absolutely. And then she'd leave the room and then I'd be playing guitar and I was like kind of writing songs and feeling very inspired. And she'd come in an hour later and the fire would be like down to ash and she'd go, oh dear, and just shake her head and like start the whole thing again. So anyhow, I did not get my fire burning merit badge from Felicity that week, but I did write some songs. And this one I wrote based on a story that I saw in the newspaper over there. It was a very old copy of the paper, and I balled it up and I threw it in the fire. But before I threw it in, I saw an article about how an influencer had tweeted something about a company and how that company lost $500 million in value that day because of this one young woman's tweet. And I thought about that person who owned that company and how crazy that must feel to have like your life's work just like swing so wildly based on sort of the whims of a cranky teenager. And I thought, well, everything changes. And I got a lot of messages from people during the time that most of us spent at home about this particular song and about how, well, they were listening to a lot because it was sort of an anthem for, well, everything changes. You never know. Y'all have been an absolute delight to sing for tonight. Thank you for spending your Saturday with me. I was king of the world for a minute or two, on top of the mountain, and I liked the view. High on power, drunk on wine, beloved for a time. Turn down offers you don't refuse, ignored the gossip, deplored the news. Should have seen how quick they cut me loose. If only they had told me, yeah, if only they had told me that everything changes. Everything changes. Everything changes, but what's strangest is it takes us by surprise. You were kind to me back in those days. It turned me on to hear you say none of it mattered anyway. If only you had told me, yeah, if only you had told me that everything changes. Everything changes. Everything changes, but what's strangest is it takes us by surprise. What good is good fortune when it goes so fast? How sweet are sweet nothings when nothing lasts.
cross your heart and hold your breath. You never know what's coming next. Everything changes. Everything changes. Everything changes. But what's strangest is it shakes us while piece by piece it breaks us. Every time it takes us by surprise.
Thank you so much to the Mucky Duck. Thank you to the internet. Thank you to Graham, who I forgot to mention earlier. You guys have been wonderful. My name is Rebecca Loebe. I'll see you again, possibly very, very, very soon. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, stop. Don't stop. I couldn't.